Lanco Group is known for delivering sustainable, efficient solutions. By working closely with clients, Lanco Group is able to meet the complex infrastructure requirements for residential, commercial and industrial developments on time, on budget. Find out more at lancogroup.com.au. Lanco Group, your business partner for engineering solutions.
Buying your electricity from the big energy companies is now the most expensive way to power your home. In fact, the average electricity bill in Australia has more than doubled in the last 15 years, but not for the ones who went solar. Unlike your electricity bill, the price of solar has actually come down, and there's also government rebates available. So what are you waiting for? Join the 2 million households already saving hundreds of dollars every year. See how much your roof could be making you at solarpowerco.com.au. Go solar and get $500 cash back with the Solar Power Co, Australia's most trusted solar brand. solarpowerco.com.au.
We're back here on Twilight Football. It's all happening. Champions League is back in our lives. We've got European club football to talk about. The FFA Cup kicking off in Queensland. And for the very first time, we get to watch some Champions League games in Asia that aren't involving Australian teams. Except for, the dodgy streams we were reduced to during the Fox Sports days. Josh Parish and Nick D'Urbano here with you on FNR Football Nation Radio. And we're going to have Nick Stoll, producer of Stan Sport, and of course, good friend of the station, joining us a little bit later to talk Champions League. But Nick D'Urbano, big welcome to you.
Evening, Josh. Really exciting, sort of week, I guess, with football. FFA Cup finally back after 2 years. Just about. I mean, it wasn't the last game would have been the FFA Cup final back to the famous Adelaide United Melbourne City final where Al Hassan Toure went absolutely bonkers. We finally get it kicked off, albeit a month or so late, and also Champions League, but also Champions League with fans, because last year, we really only had the final with fans, but in terms of football being better, obviously, with spectators, the Champions League has that certain extra bit of aura when it's got supporters in the stands as well with the Champions League anthem and all. I honestly can't wait tomorrow morning.
Well, it's pretty special for you because not only is the Champions League back in Europe, but AC Milan are back in it for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, 7 years, Josh. 7 years. Can you believe that? Like a team of Milan's caliber and history in the UEFA Champions League not playing in it for such a long time is unbelievable. But it's so good they're back, albeit the group they've got is a little bit tough. I mean, not like they're playing Liverpool, Atletico Madrid and FC Porto. And it's going to be good fun playing. I mean, the last game they actually played in the Champions League was against Atletico Madrid in the round of 16. And they've got a bit of history with Liverpool, 2005, 2007 Champions League finals. So it's great they're back. I think the Champions League is certainly richer when you've got AC Milan in there. And obviously they've won it 7 times. Zlatan Ibrahimovic back in the Champions League as well for the first time in, 4 or 5 years now at least, when he was maybe at United or PSG. I don't know if you might be able to probably recollect a bit more being a United fan, Josh, if Zlatan actually played Champions League or Europa League. But it's great. I am so excited for that on Thursday morning. Anfield's going to be popping off. And wouldn't it be great just beating Liverpool in the first game as well? I've got a lot of receipts, put it like that, with Liverpool fans, and I can't wait. Hopefully we get up.
It's a big week for you, Nick. It's a big week
huge.
for your.
It's huge.
We're just surrounded by Liverpool fans, insufferably so in Australia. So I think I'm certainly rooting for Milan.
I think most fans, like most Premier League fans, probably the 19 other teams in the Premier League or any team in the English Pyramid, the European football sphere, would just love beating Liverpool. I think there's just something special about it because of just the fact about. The reaction from their supporters is always the best. It's always so funny. I think that's something I always look forward to so much because when things are great, they're next level nauseating. But when it's the other way around, when they're losing, oh boy, it's the opposite end. It's doom and gloom. It's doomsday. If you remember back to the Kenny Dalglish days and even more recently when Jurgen Klopp took over. So yeah, it will be interesting to see how it all plays out. But boy, it'd be great to be.
Well, before we welcome Nick Stoll to the program to go into more depth on that fixture and some of the other massive games happening this week, I think it's worth mentioning some of the European club football that took place over the weekend. What was one thing you liked and disliked? Kick us off with either or.
One thing I really liked was obviously the Serie A this weekend, just in general, keeping on that Italian football discussion. The weekend of Serie A was absolutely bonkers. And there always has been, I think that sometimes I feel like I'm running a bit of a propaganda game on social media, trying to get, the eyes on Serie A, trying to say, yeah, it's great, 8:30 kickoffs and all. But if you're watching this weekend, or if you weren't watching, you were certainly missing out. Napoli beating Juventus on Sunday morning it wasn't an amazing game, but it was in terms of the storyline, really. Juventus stopped winning from their first three. The Sampdoria Inter game at 8:30 on Sunday night was just one of the great games of football, just end-to-end attacking football. You like that sort of game, then that was for you. And then you had Milan beating Lazio, which was a really, really fun game, and Roma beating Sassuolo. And who doesn't love Jose going for a run when there's a 90th minute winner? Like, it was great. An absolutely crazy finish to that game as well. El Shaarawy scoring the winner, and then Gianluca Scamacca scoring an equaliser minutes later, only to be rubbed out for offside. And it was great. And the whole weekend was great in Serie A, and even some of the other smaller teams getting results as well. It was really, really good. And I guess just going to keep this kind of small on something I didn't like. I guess it's just been kind of the complete overreaction about Cristiano Ronaldo scoring a double and having the greatest Premier League debut of all time. Do people forget that this isn't his debut? Like, he played in the Premier League recently.
The second
debut. Debut, Premier League return. Well, yeah, but it's not a particular debut. It's not his first ever Premier League game. If we're going to be, going to really hone in on the exact meaning of the word. But I mean, was he really that good?
It wasn't even the best Premier League debut this weekend. That belongs to Odsonne Edouard.
That's the thing.
Ronaldo took, 43 minutes? Edouard took 28 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely.
Better
and
goals,
Ronaldo
too.
Scored a tap-in. And I mean, if he was going to do it against anyone, of course he did it against Newcastle. We know what he did in Serie A. He feasted on the minnows. And Newcastle was served up to him on a silver platter and said, feast. I can't wait till he takes on a bit more of a quality team, and he might prove me wrong, but I doubt it very highly. I'm going to stick by that. So, at me, I don't care. I'm going at it. Ronaldo is overrated at this point in time.
It was the Brucey bonus redux. I mean, did anyone really expect United legend Steve Bruce managing a side at Old Trafford to put up much resistance? That's not how it goes, No. It's against the script. Something I didn't like from the weekend, Nick, on a more serious note, was the injury to Liverpool's Harvey Elliott, which was very gross, and very upsetting for a young player to suffer that kind of serious ankle dislocation. What I really didn't like about it, though, was beyond the injury, the coverage of the foul by Pascal Struijk, which was apparently a very harsh red card, and also the refusal of broadcasters to show replays. And usually I would be in favour of them skimping on that kind of gruesome stuff. But in this case, I think this is the Premier League's chickens coming home to roost. This is what all of the old boys, the pundits were calling for. A bit of common sense refereeing, whatever that means in inverted commas. Like, what is common sense refereeing? Nobody knows, but it seems to involve sort of laissez-faire, let-it-flow approach to giving free kicks and fouls away. And maybe that's what it was like in the 60s and 70s, but, in those days, you had boggy pitches and you didn't have guys like Pascal Struijk, 6'3" and not an ounce of fat on him, running at, 25 miles an hour. You couldn't inflict as much damage. And players played in a completely different way. They played in terms of self-preservation. Harvey Elliott takes a touch across Struijk to actually draw the contact. Nobody did that back in the day. You either stomp on the guy when you see his leg sliding in, or you take the ball as far away from your opposite marker as possible. So players are no longer thinking in terms of self-preservation and trying to shield themselves from injuries. They're thinking of what's the next pass, the next dribble. They're thinking in terms of how can I best win a free kick here. They haven't grown up that way. So you can't rewind the clock. It's like that line from The Wire. The thing about the old days is they the old days. So I think if we're going to encourage this kind of tackling from behind and roughhousing, you're going to see a lot more quote unquote freak injuries and accidents and serious leg breaks in the Premier League this season if this is the kind of defending that you're encouraging in the pursuit of some sort of let it flow, laissez-faire, the referee's only a spectator type approach. And, if you're going to do that, you should also confront the viewers and the pundits with the consequences of that approach, which is the gruesome images of, Harvey Elliott's ankle being dislocated. I think the prudish refusal to acknowledge that it even happened and acknowledge just how severe the injury really was is counterproductive in terms of actually protecting the skillful players. So that's my little soapbox rant for the weekend. What I did like, Nick, and I'll take it back to Serie A, Jose Mourinho running down the touchline at the end of the Roma Sassuolo game. It was so premeditated. There's a camera on him. He knows there's a camera on him. He's waiting for the ball to go in the net. He's almost limbering up for the sprint. It's just classic, like Mourinho movie stardom, and I'm here for it, honestly.
The Roma social clip they posted this morning of it was sensational. The one
I'm surprised
thing
he didn't stretch out his groin and do a few, get down on all fours for the start. I think he was like he was waiting for the gun at the Olympics.
Yeah, he was like starting to move slowly, and then he like looked at his assistants after the ball went in and gave him a look, and they're all looking to celebrate with him there, and he's just like, I'm out of here. He's taken off, and he did a pretty decent run, not going to lie. Like, I'm surprised he didn't pull something on the note that he didn't stretch. Like, if he wasn't stretched, like, the way he was going, and, obviously when you get a bit older, father time hits, calf injuries. Hopefully he hasn't pulled anything. But, look, it was a really wholesome moment. And to say Roma have been brilliant so far under Jose Mourinho. So maybe there's a bit of magic going on in the capital. Maybe he's still got it after all this. So a bit of an intriguing watch with them at the moment, not going to lie.
Well, Nick, we're going to take a short break and welcome a second Nick into the conversation on the other side. Nick Stoll, producer at Stan Sport. He's going to take us through the Champions League ties this week and maybe just give us a little inside goss from set. I mean, they've assembled quite a cast of pundits on the Stan Sport program. Max Rushton coming over from the UK, Australian favourites like Craig Foster and Mark Bosnich. I'm also really excited to hear from Grace Gill, who I think is one of the up-and-coming real intelligent voices, not only in the women's game, but just in general in Australian football. So I'm excited to hear about what's been going on behind the scenes and to talk Champions League on the other side of this break.
Are you looking to change your destiny in life? Be your own boss? Start your own business? If you are, you need people who understand your needs and are committed to helping you make it happen. At DKP & Co Chartered Accountants, we are more than just accountants. We are business advisors, taxation consultants, and strategists that specialise in setting up businesses. We understand the client and give them the very best customised advice and strategies to achieve their goals. Visit our website, dkpco.com.au, or give us a call today on 03 9023 9370. Fast, proactive, personal. That's DKP & Co Chartered Accountants.
Since 1998, Lanco Group has been providing superior civil engineering solutions and advice to developers, local government and service authorities across Australia. Lanco Group is known for delivering sustainable, efficient solutions. By working closely with clients, Lanco Group is able to meet the complex infrastructure requirements for residential, commercial and industrial developments on time, on budget. Find out more at lancogroup.com.au. Lanco Group, your business partner for engineering solutions.
Buying your electricity from the big energy companies is now the most expensive way to power your home. In fact, the average electricity bill in Australia has more than doubled in the last 15 years, but not for the ones who went solar. Unlike your electricity bill, the price of solar has actually come down, and there's also government rebates available. So what are you waiting for? Join the 2 million households already saving hundreds of dollars every year. See how much your roof could be making you at solarpowerco.com.au. Go solar and get $500 cash back with the Solar Power Co, Australia's most trusted solar brand. solarpowerco.com.au.
Welcome back, Champions League.
Yes, welcome back, Champions League. I am super excited. My alarm is actually set for 12:30 a.m. tomorrow.
Oh, brutal.
Yes, it is very brutal. I'm very excited, but also I'm already worried about how tired I'll be. But 12:30 a.m. I've got to get in a little bit earlier. But our first game kicks off at 2:45. Obviously, Manchester United fans probably want to know about. They're playing Young Boys, and Sevilla is playing the team known as FC Salzburg, also known as Red Bull Salzburg. But for UEFA purposes, we can't mention the Red Bull name. And yeah, it's going to be exciting tomorrow. Barca Bayern. I'm a bit worried that Barca are going to get absolutely towed up once again. But hopefully not. Hopefully they prove me wrong. And so a lot of good games tomorrow. And then, of course, we got Milan, Liverpool the day after. That's going to be massive. So it's exciting. Obviously, I know for a lot of people, look, it's always annoying when, broadcasters change and now it's on the stand. And I totally get that. But, I hope people do sign up and I hope they watch what I think is the best football you can watch.
Give us a little peek behind the scenes, Nick. I mean, you've assembled quite the cast of talent there at Stan Sport. I mean, I know a lot of people are excited to see Max Rushton swapping the UK for Australia. You've got your old SBS mate Foz back on football punditry for the first time in some time. Bozza joining the cast. Grace Gill. There's some real talent there. I'm excited to see this broadcast for the first time.
Yeah, it's cool. We actually had a rehearsal on Monday, and it was just good to see Foz and Boz, who obviously had teammates back in the Socceroos days, but they've not really been on the same broadcast because obviously Boz was at Fox Sports for such a long time and did a tiny bit of stuff with SBS right at the start of his media career. But it's just good to see them interact. They have a good energy off each other. Everyone's super motivated to make it the best that we can. We're also going to have people like Lars Sivertsen on tomorrow morning as a European expert. Some people know him from the Guardian Football Weekly. We've got Nicky Bandini, who's a Serie A expert for the AC Milan Liverpool game, which is good. So we're trying to bring, I guess, Max's Guardian Football Weekly flavor to some of the shows. I'm going to have sideline reporters for the Liverpool Milan game at Anfield on Thursday, which is going to be good as well. So look, it's exciting. I'm pretty pumped up about it. Look, nothing is ever perfect, and I don't want people tweeting me at 5 a.m. or something when, I don't know, something goes wrong. But, we're going to try and make it better every single match week. And, obviously, I guess for the people signing up, the good thing is that there's going to be mini matches, replays, highlights, there's classic games so you can go watch. Nick, I know you're a big Milan fan. The 2007 final, I believe, is on there if you want to relive that. 2005 final's also on there. Probably don't want to relive that. For Barca Bayern fans, the 3-0 where Messi makes Boateng just collapse, like the leaning tower of Boateng, just boom. That game's on there, but also the 8-2's on there. So, something for everyone, I guess. So it's cool. We're just trying to, obviously Optus, I think, did a really good job and you want to build on that. So we're trying to do that. We're trying to take it to the next level and give, the customer as much football as we can. There's also every game of Champions League, every game of Europa League, every game of the Conference League, and even the UEFA Youth League. If you're a real aficionado of under 18s football, look, go nuts, enjoy yourself. It's there to be watched as well. So yeah, hopefully there's enough there for people. And we're also going to do a couple of shows, which I think haven't been announced yet, but will be soon.
I mean, Nick, what's the one thing you're really looking forward to about this Champions League? Josh and I were talking about how great it is that fans are back and how much extra element it gives to not just football, but the Champions League as well, you know, with the anthem and everything else, an extra bit of buzz. Is that maybe one of the big things you're looking forward to, or is there something on the field? What is it for you?
Yeah, I mean, the fans is a huge one. You know, even actually, we've been going through a lot of, you know, for highlights, we've been going through a lot of last seasons, and it just doesn't have that same effect. You know, people can score amazing goals, people can do amazing things, but when you don't have that roar of the crowd, that explosion of joy, it just doesn't feel, you know, what all the great Champions League moments are. So, and even I was thinking, you know, of all the great games, all the classic games, nothing really came out from the last season that I could personally think of. So, you know, I mean, obviously, so the crowd is one element to look forward to. There's been so many massive changes. I'm not a huge fan of a lot of these moves. I'm not a fan of Messi being at PSG, but from a football journalistic perspective, it is interesting. It is interesting to see how Mbappe, Messi, Neymar, and people. Look, I saw the other day on, I don't know, one of the crappy Instagram accounts was like, who's the best front three in the world? And they gave like 8 options, and it was like, anyone who says it's not Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe is insane. He's absolutely. I don't care what combination you can tell. Oh no, it's actually this. Messi, Neymar, Neymar, and Mbappe in the same front three is insane. So that's something I'm really looking forward to. You know, Cristiano Ronaldo at Manchester United. That's an interesting one. Lukaku at Chelsea. You know, it's great to see Milan back in the second most successful team of all time in Champions League history, back in the, you know, Champions League competition. Atleti looks strong. You know, Madrid, hopefully they lose every game. That'd be great to see. I enjoy whenever that happens. So, you know, there's a lot of different teams. You know, Guardiola, it's like so many years has been building for City to win the Champions League. They still haven't done it. And does it feel like their window is going? I feel like maybe their window is going. They don't feel like the clear favorite. It just feels like they're maybe 1 year past it. So I don't know. I think it's going to be a really interesting season for all.
And this may be Guardiola's last season at Manchester City, judging by what he said to, you know, whatever corporate gig he was speaking at a couple of months back. He hinted that, you know, he would probably take a sabbatical at the end of the season, go back to New York maybe.
I would think, I don't know what you guys think, but I reckon if he won the Champions League last season, he would have done that. He would have taken the sabbatical. He would have said, it would have been cool. I've done it. Look, he doesn't like living in Manchester. There's no way. This dude's from Barcelona, right? There's no way he likes living in Manchester. You know, respect to all the people from Manchester, but his family, I think his wife was living with him for a while in Manchester, and then she bailed and was like, look, there's only so much I can take of this, all right? I need to go back to Barcelona. You know, that grey in the sky just kills people. In fact, I remember Cristiano Ronaldo once saying when he was at Real Madrid, because he tried to leave Real Madrid a couple of times, and Manchester United really wanted him. And he said, if Manchester was in Southern Europe, I'd go tomorrow, because he does love the club Manchester United. Now he's ended up there, but I reckon for sure Guardiola, you know, wants to leave, but he just feels he needs to prove, for obvious reasons, that he can win the Champions League with Manchester City without Messi, without, you know, the La Masia production line of talent. You know, and geez, he's come close a couple of times now. I actually feel City probably have been the best team in Europe a few years. I think they were the best team in Europe last year, even though they didn't win the Champions League. So yeah, it's interesting. It's going to be a really interesting competition, hopefully. And even I think, like, to me, it's like Bayern Munich. People aren't really talking too much about Bayern Munich, but if I had to tip one team to win this comp right now, I'm going to say Bayern. I think they're going to win it.
I mean, most people would hear that and say, how dare you not say PSG? I'm curious to hear the why. Why do you think Bayern will get it done?
So my argument against PSG is only the argument that all I can, like, maybe this is just when I was a kid, but when I was a kid, Real Madrid had all the superstars: Ronaldo, Beckham, Figo, Zidane, you know, Raul, Hierro. Makelele left, and that was kind of one of the issues. They didn't quite have the balance of the team, and it always costs them. And egos get in the way, and people kind of forget that team, Ronaldo and Raul, didn't get on at all. And they're all amazing players. They're all on amazing money. It doesn't always work out. Another team I look at is Brazil 2006 was one of the most stacked squad I've ever seen in my life. And it's a World Cup, it's a different tournament, but Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Kaká coming into his prime, Robinho, Adriano, you know, Roberto Carlos, Cafu. I just looked at that team. I was like, this team cannot be beaten. And eventually someone works them out. So I just think bringing in all that incredible talent it feels like there's a semi-final exit for PSG. And I think one team, probably a team like Bayern, is going to work out, look, Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe don't press. So we can get through them. I think that's where they're going to come unstuck. In saying that, I mean, a team that, goes all out against PSG and then opens themselves up to a counter-attack with those three, like, good luck. Because the closest thing I've ever seen to that is Barca 2015 under Luis Enrique was a bit more of a direct team. You wouldn't say it was counter-attacking, but teams would press them and they would break with Suarez, Messi, and Neymar. And it was like a guaranteed goal, basically. Like, it was insane. So, and I think this is going to be the same thing. I just think that semi-final time, it's going to come unstuck.
Bayern still, though, pretty reliant, despite all the talent around them, on that axis of Muller, Lewandowski. Are they still just as good as they were? Do you think they're right up there still, or are they slightly past their peak as a pairing?
You would say they are possibly past their peak individually, but I just think Bayern, they create so many chances. Nagelsmann's an interesting one because I think he's going to kind of rejuvenate that side. You've also got, players like Leroy Sané creating chances, Serge Gnabry, who we saw 2 years ago, how effective he can be at his best, but also Musiala. Musiala's amazing. He's been really good off the bench. He's amazing at the weekend. So I just think they just create so many chances. And I think when you create 15 chances a game and you have Lewandowski up front, it's so hard to stop. And then I think they have, Neuer at the back. I'm a big fan of Kimmich. They've strengthened Upamecano in central defense. And then they've got Alphonso Davies, who I still have nightmares about because he destroyed Nelson Semedo's career. I've never seen a player just get so ripped by, a fullback since probably, Gareth Bale against Maicon back in 2010. It was a humiliation. And because I've been cutting highlights at the moment to run on tomorrow's broadcast, so everyone remembers it. The amount of times you just see it and you go, this guy just destroyed us. So I don't know. I think Bayern have the most things going for them in my thing. They have, not they don't have the talent of maybe PSG and Man City, but I think they have the collectivism that is needed to win at this level.
Let's talk Barcelona then. Severe austerity measures at Camp Nou this offseason. Getting rid of Griezmann basically on deadline day was a bit of a shock to many. But it seems like those decisions were driven by the accounts department. Is this Barcelona team, do they belong in the Champions League?
They do, but barely. It's a tough one, really. Look, they're still a top 4 team in Spain. You just look at it and it is incredible. Like, it is incredible to think Luke de Jong is probably going to start up front for Barcelona tomorrow. I remember watching a game between Barca and Sevilla a couple of years ago, and the only thing that stopped Sevilla beating Barca was Luke de Jong was awful in front of goal. He missed about 5 chances, and I was like, thank God that guy's not our striker. And we had Messi, and Messi needed like 1 chance, 2 goals. That was how Messi was playing, right? And now it's the opposite. Now you look at this guy's going to play for us, and you think, oof. Memphis Depay has been very good. That's kind of one like shining light. He's been much better than expected. Pedri comes back, I think, for this game. He's had a little bit of a rest, hopefully. There's some better things for the collective there, but look, there's issues with Koeman as well. Koeman's apparently fighting with the president. So look, I would be shocked if Barcelona does anything tomorrow morning. If they even get a draw, I would be surprised. This is not going to be a good season for Barcelona. The one good thing about Barca is they have a lot of good young players. Ansu Fati's coming through. Hopefully he recovers his form injury. Frankie de Jong, there's still that thought that he can kick on to that next level. Pedri is one of the best midfielders, in the world right now, and he's 18. You've got young talent like Serginho Dest, Araujo at the back. You got Mingueza, Ricky Puig when he gets minutes. There's talent. There's a lot of talent there, and probably there'll always be talent coming out of Barcelona because they are able to produce talent. But yeah, I would be surprised if they go past the round of 16.
Well, I mean, it's not necessarily all cut and dry in the group. I mean, Benfica aren't an easy beat. You know how sometimes it can all work out. You're all concerned that maybe maybe they might not even get through, because, I mean, you do talk about they haven't been inspiring, but in the Champions League, this stuff can happen. We've seen some big teams, obviously, not even get past the group stage in the past.
Yeah, I mean, look, it can happen. I would be surprised if you look at it. Benfica aren't as strong as maybe traditionally they are. Last year it was Sporting and Porto that really fought it out for the title. Benfica a little bit underneath. I watched Benfica in the qualifiers when they played PSV. They weren't great. This wasn't, Jorge Jesus, the coach, gets a lot of praise because he went to South America with Flamengo and he won the Copa Lib there with them. They stole the game from River. They scored 2 goals in the 87th and 91st to win it. And I was in a bar surrounded by Flamengo fans in Sydney. So it was a lot of fun. But they weren't a good side, actually. So I don't know. I'm not sold on Benfica. Dinamo Kiev is a tough away trip. So, you can lose points there. But if Barca can't get past Dinamo Kiev and Benfica, then Koeman will be fired immediately. They'll probably bring in Xavi. But then again, you think about it and you think, okay, well, what's the big deal for a team if they get knocked out at the group stage, come third, and then go into the Europa League, and probably can go on a much better Europa League run, or they make it to the round of 16, play 2 games, and then get bounced by PSG 5-1 on aggregate? Like, is that much of a great achievement? Oh, we made it out of the group and then we got absolutely smoked. Because I think that's probably what's going to happen at Barca. They'll get out of the group and then they'll get smoked in the second round. Hopefully not by PSG. I mean, if like Messi scores against Barca, there's nothing I can think of that would make me like just sadder. Stan Sport might actually pull the plug on the broadcast. It might just be me going, this is it. We're not showing this show anymore.
Well, the suspect number 1 if the feed cuts out when Bayern score their 8th tomorrow morning. Let's look ahead to Thursday. A few games that are a little bit more difficult to call, starting with Liverpool versus AC Milan at Anfield. I mean, this is the game of the round for me. And I have to say, this is such a great sort of mid-2000s throwback. We haven't seen these two teams play each other. We haven't seen AC Milan in the Champions League for 7 years, you said earlier, Nick. So, I mean, I just love the prestige and the history in this fixture.
Well, can I just say on this, and Nick, I'd love to get your thoughts on the Milan team when we get into this, but these two teams, the second and third most successful Champions League teams of all time, 7 titles for Milan, 6 for Liverpool. They've only played each other twice in those 2 very memorable finals, which I was kind of stunned by going back. Barca Bayern have played each other about 10 times, with Bayern winning way too many of those games. But yeah, it was incredible for me to think that these 2 historical teams, so much success, and have only met in 2 finals. But Nick, what are your thoughts on Milan? Because I'm sure like most of the audience probably is aware of how Liverpool's going, but Milan's an interesting one.
Yeah. They were very good on the weekend. I'm not saying that, I could probably think that, the defensive
the NBN does not want us to hear about AC Milan, apparently. So that's a shame. Hopefully D'Urbano will be back with us soon.
Yeah,
we might hear slight echoes of his answer throughout this next one.
Really gives me. You guys talk. I'm gonna try.
Oh dear, Australian internet. You gotta love it.
I hope Milan's attack is a bit more fluid than Nick D'Urbano's connection. But I think Josh, what he was gonna say, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but this Milan team, there's a lot of potential there. I think they're not. I don't think this is necessarily going to be an easy win for Liverpool. Though, of course, Liverpool will start favourites, especially being at home. But this Milan team is pretty interesting, and I think there's a lot of potential in that midfield. One player that I loved when he wasn't injured for Milan, and I hope we get to see him more this season, is Benacer. I thought Benacer was really one of like a very special midfielder. I believe he's Algerian. I really think he can be one of the top 10 midfielders in the world if he gets regular game time and he kicks on. So that's going to be an interesting one. I mean, it's going to be crazy to see Ibrahimovic starting a game in 2021 in the Champions League against Liverpool. This guy started in the quarterfinal against Liverpool for Juventus in 2005. That's how long this guy's been playing. I mean, what was the stat that he scored every single season since 1998 or 9 or something when he started at Malmo? It's incredible. So that's going to be really interesting to see.
100%. And I think the central midfield question is the central Milan kind of Twitter debate topic, isn't it, Nick? If you're with us.
I hope that you guys can hear me now.
Yes, that's better.
Am I coming through? Okay, that's better.
Is this thing
having
on?
A bit of issues with my internet at the moment. Yeah. It's a good point you make, Nick, about Benacer. He hasn't featured much so far. He had COVID, so he's kind of had to work his way back. And it's actually benefited Sandro Tonali, who is just as exciting, which has been unbelievable to see his progress over the past few weeks. And seeing him against Lazio on the weekend, he had probably in our own little chats, our good friend Ante Jukic described that he's never seen Luis Alberto and Sergej Milinkovic-Savic that sort of under pressure and in their pocket more than playing against Sandro Tonali on the weekend. I was amazed. And I was talking about the defensive stuff earlier. That's one thing I'm really excited about. They lost Donnarumma, but Mike Mignon is a sensational replacement. He has been brilliant between the sticks. The back four is really solid. Teo Hernandez at left back, Calabria at the right. Whether it's Romagnoli and Tomori or Pierre and Romagnoli or Tomori and Pierre, it's that's another, mix and match partnership, which has worked really well. And going forward, they've got quality. Brahim Diaz has really come into his own and played a really key role over the next couple of seasons, how he progresses. Alexis Salamakers, who's just come from nowhere, and he's sort of been the fan of every football hipster, but, he doesn't do all the sort of the flashy stuff, but he's an unbelievable worker. He gets in great positions. And then up top, you've got Zlatan and Olivier Giroud. These guys know how to score goals. Giroud, if he plays, he'll open up little pockets for players to try and exploit. And Zlatan, well, he's going to thrive in this moment. You spoke about the fact that, he played 16 years ago against Liverpool. If there's any player that's made for a Champions League game, big stage, Anfield Life, it's Zlatan. And whether he starts or not, comes off the bench, he's going to make an impact. It was within minutes against Lazio, got himself in a good area. And at 40, he's still, showcasing that quick dash, 20-meter dash where he's able to get in behind defenses and get in great positions. We know that Liverpool like to press, they like to play high. If Milan are able to play off the counter-attack and open up those little channels, I reckon that they're actually a much better chance than a lot of people think. I don't think they're going to win, but I reckon there's a chance they'll come away with at least a point.
I'm looking forward to seeing Rafael Leao up against Trent Alexander-Arnold, because I don't think either of them is going to track the other. I think there's going to be a lot of back and forth down that flank. Alexander-Arnold obviously getting forward. Leao will exploit the space he leaves in behind. And I think that's going to be, the sort of game of chicken as to who kind of backs down, who decides that they actually need to fulfill their defensive responsibilities.
And also Teo Hernandez, the guy doesn't defend. He's literally going to be bombing forward and acting as an extra winger. And we know how good he is going forward, but defensively, there have been games where against guys like Akrab Fekini last season, absolutely destroyed him on that flank. And that's a bit of a concern. As good as he is going forward, you mentioned defensively, it's going to be fun to watch if you're a neutral, because you're just going to see end-to-end bombardment. But as a fan, my heart's going to be in my mouth. Just, it's going to be nerve-wracking. So, but either way, I'm so pumped. Milan back in the Champions League. What's better?
Yeah, it's just fantastic, and I really can't wait for that game in particular. I mean, elsewhere we've got Inter Milan, Real Madrid. Maybe the luster has slightly gone off that tie just recently, especially with the changes Inter have made in the off season. But they're certainly still scoring goals and playing some pretty entertaining football, as we saw against Sampdoria on the weekend. Even if some of the coaching decisions in the dugout were less than optimal in that game. But Madrid, Karim Benzema, Stoll, he started like a house on fire in La Liga. The guy just doesn't age, it seems like.
Yeah, frustratingly so. I keep waiting for him to decline, so get out of the way. No, Madrid look good. Frustratingly, they're creating good chances. One thing that's scary is Vinicius Jr. actually looks like he can finish, because for so long, Vinicius Jr. he'd sprint, he'd get onto a through ball, and I wouldn't even be nervous. He'd be one-on-one with the keeper. I go, Vinicius, please miss, always miss, straight into the keeper, over the bar, past the post. awful. But now he's just got that bit of composure. I don't know if Carlo Ancelotti has given him extra confidence, if he's been working on it, but it's scary because this dude, he can get past players. If there's a high line, he's so rapid, he'll get him behind quick. So if they have that weapon, if you have Vinicius Jr. going behind, you saw this a bit on the weekend as well, with Benzema dropping into that kind of half number 10 space. That's deadly. That is really exciting. And Carlo Ancelotti just brings the feel-good factor to the team. So you might see even Gareth Bale's career pick up again. You might see Isco's career pick up again. They've gotten a little bit more game time. Eden Hazard, we haven't seen the best of him, but if he gets to his level, even if he gets to 80, 90% of what he was at Chelsea, that's going to be a scary team. They still go, obviously, the midfield three of Modric, Casemiro, and Toni Kroos. And I think everyone has been thinking that they were past it for at least 2 or 3 years now, and they every year in the Champions League semi-finals with those midfield three. So, they're quality players. The other one, of course, is the player that they signed from France, Camavinga. So, that's an interesting one as well, how they get him into the team. But, Madrid is strong. Courtois is becoming one of the best goalkeepers in the world. So they aren't peak Madrid when they're winning 3 Champions Leagues, but they're going to be their quarterfinal, semi-finals for sure, no doubt.
And their crosstown rivals are looking pretty healthy as well, as you mentioned earlier, Stoll. I mean, Atletico Madrid are playing against Porto. I think Diego Simeone is still kind of figuring out the best system for the talent that he has at his disposal. But having been donated a free Griezmann and a free Suarez, they're in pretty rude health.
Yeah. Thanks to Barca. Well done, Bartomeu. You managed to strengthen Atleti more than you strengthened Barcelona. Look, basically, Atleti's problem, and they've had this problem a few times under Simeone, is they have too much attacking talent for him. He's the only coach in the world that's like, oh, great. No, he goes, oh, I actually have a problem. I have a really good attack. So, at the weekend, they played Suarez up top with Griezmann and Correa. Correa's been in fantastic form in behind. You also had Carrasco coming from kind of the wing-back position, and then Trippier on the other side. But, of course, they've got João Felix as well. He's a wonderful player. They've signed Rodrigo de Paul. He's come across from Udinese. There's a lot of quality there. So Simeone just has to find his balance. The balance between his instinct, which is defense first, hard to beat, 1-0 wins, and using what you have at your disposal, which is Luis Suarez, an aging but still very good number 9, Griezmann, who's one of Atleti's all-time great players, Correa, who's in great form and a very exciting attacking player, and then João Felix, who they spent 120 million on 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's a question of who does he leave out, and I for my money, João Felix has been shafted, and left out of the team way too often. I really think he's quite a prodigious complementary player and really knits the team together. And if anything, he's one who can maybe supply Suarez and Griezmann with the service that they need. But of course, that means you have to leave someone out further back. And traditionally, Simeone is not inclined that way. Before we let you go, Stoll, let's get some tips from all of us on the very big games in the Champions League this week. We'll start with Barca Bayern. Bayern win?
I'm going to say Bayern 4, Barca 1.
Oof. D'Urbano?
Bayern 3, Barca 1.
Yeah, I agree. I think it will be, I'm going to say 4-2, Bayern's favour. We'll go Inter Milan, Real Madrid.
I'm going to say Inter 1, Real Madrid 2.
That's exactly what I was about to say, so pass it on to D'Urbano.
2-2 draw. I think it'll be a fun game.
Repping for Serie A, always. Even putting aside his club rivalries. Atletico Porto.
I'm going to say Atletico 1-0 win at the traditional Simeone masterclass.
I'm going to say 2-0.
It says 1-1 just for the sake of the group. Head says probably a 1-0 Atleti as well.
And finally, Liverpool versus AC Milan.
I'm going to say Liverpool 3, Milan 2.
Oh, shit. I'm gonna say Liverpool 2, Milan 3. Stuff it, we're winning.
I'm going to sit on the fence and say a 2-2 draw. Great. Perfectly balanced. Stoll, thank you so much for joining us. You better get off to bed now because you're getting up at just half past midnight. So good luck with your early wake up, and we look forward to seeing Stan Sports and the Champions League come to life tomorrow morning.
Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for having me on the show. And yes, if you haven't signed up for Stan Sport, there's a 7-day free trial. So good time to check it out. And we all know how to get past these things anyway. So enjoy.
Get your free trial. Give it a go. It's the best time to try it. All right, we'll take a short break. On the other side, we've got some FFA Cup games to preview, and we might even have a little chat about the AFC Champions League. And Nick D'Urbano is going to get his kite, his wire, and his key and try and find some better reception. So we'll try that after the break here on Twilight Football.
Looking to change your destiny in life? Be your own boss? Start your own business? If you are, you need people who understand your needs and are committed to helping you make it happen. At DKP & Co Chartered Accountants, we are more than just accountants. We are business advisors, taxation consultants, and strategists that specialise in setting up businesses. We understand the client and give them the very best customised advice and strategies to achieve their goals. Visit our website dkpco.com.au or give us a call today on 03 9023 9370. Fast, proactive, personal. That's DKP & Co Chartered Accountants.
Since 1998, Lanco Group has been providing superior civil engineering solutions and advice to developers, local government and service authorities across Australia. Lanco Group is known for delivering sustainable, efficient solutions. By working closely with clients, Lanco Group is able to meet the complex infrastructure requirements for residential, commercial and industrial developments on time, on budget. Find out more at lancogroup.com.au. Lanco Group, your business partner for engineering solutions.
Buying your electricity from the big energy companies is now the most expensive way to power your home. In fact, the average electricity bill in Australia has more than doubled in the last 15 years, but not for the ones who went solar. Unlike your electricity bill, the price of solar has actually come down, and there's also government rebates available. So what are you waiting for? Join the 2 million households already saving hundreds of dollars every year. See how much your roof could be making you at solarpowerco.com.au. Go solar and get $500 cash back with the Solar Power Co, Australia's most trusted solar brand. solarpowerco.com.au.
FFA Cup is back in Queensland tonight, and the AFC Champions League is kicking off, albeit without any Australian teams involved. That doesn't mean there's no Australians involved, so we've got a lot to preview in this last 10 minutes here. Josh Parish and Nick D'Urbano on Twilight Football. We'll start with the FFA Cup. Peninsula Power versus Brisbane Raw is the big one. NPL versus A-League is always very, very exciting. But particularly in this case, Nick, because you've got one of the most prolific scorers at NPL level coming up against an A-League defence for not the first time, the second time.
Yeah, Andy Pengelly, the top goal scorer in NPL Queensland.
Oh, by a mile.
Yeah, well, Peninsula Power are top of NPL Queensland at least. So this is going to be a really, really fun game because it's the two best teams in Queensland right now, by de facto. Obviously, start of the FFA Cup's always exciting. It's exciting as well that it's down at Moreton Bay Stadium, so Brisbane Raw's new home ground. It's only a few minutes away from Peninsula's home ground as well, so hopefully we get a decent turnout as well from the Peninsula fans to get on down on a Tuesday night for this one. The interesting little bit of a subplot is that, Warren Moon, obviously former NPL Queensland coach, going up against
Aaron Phil, who, he's basically the successor to Warren Moon, because Warren Moon as well spent some time Peninsula Power. So, this is sort of as this article from good friend of the station, Chris Corrales, put it, a bit of a master versus apprentice kind of matchup, bit of a nice subplot. But it's fun. First FFA Cup game as well on the new broadcasting deal. We've seen two games, sort of Socceroos flavour with the new Channel 10 Viacom CBS deal. So this will be an interesting one in terms of now seeing what the FFA Cup sort of, broadcast is like as well. I think that's sort of a nice little subplot. But in itself, great to have the FFA Cup back. I think if there's any game potentially where we might see a bit of a cup set, this could be it. So if you love a bit of magic of the cup, tune in tonight at 7:30. I reckon it's going to be an absolute cracker.
Yeah, and it's on 10 Play, so it's totally free. So that's good fun. But
absolutely.
It's a big opportunity for all of these Peninsula Power players, and particularly Pengelly, to put himself in the A-League shop window. He went overseas and played for Aurelia Vidmar's team in Singapore, Lion City Sailors, and he was forced to come back home because of COVID, not because of his performances. And the numbers are just absolutely staggering. You should look up his stats if you haven't already. It is absolutely crazy. He's not a player who dominates games. He is a poacher extraordinaire. He might seem like he's not involved in the fixture for quite some time, and then he suddenly pops up and the ball's in the back of the net in the blink of an eye. That's what I've been told to expect. And I've haven't watched a great deal of him, but I have watched a lot of highlights. The dude is clinical. His career goal-scoring tally since he started playing senior football in the NPL in 2017 is 108 goals in 104 games. So that's mainly NPL Queensland, league and cup games, but it's also a couple of games over in Singapore as well. He has 25 in 22 in all competitions this season for Peninsula Power as they go for the title, and they probably will win it. They are a very physical outfit, and they've got a lot of talent in their team, but they're not going to just play pretty football. They're going to lay some tackles in and make their presence known. And we know Warren Moon always has his eye on NPL Queensland in terms of recruitment. So this could be Pengelly's big tryout for the big leagues. If he can score a goal here, he might find a contract offer on his in his inbox the next day.
Well, I think the interesting little subplot with Brisbane Roar is just having a look at their squad right now is they are in a bit of a transition phase with their squad because they've lost a lot of players. Dylan Wenzel-Hall's left, Riku Danzaki's loan deal, I don't know if there's any movement on that front, if he's going to be coming back. Masato Kudo's gone as well. So they've brought in Luke Ivanovic, Nikola Milausnic, Juan Lescano as well. I'm not too sure if he's playing or not. Matty Steinman as well, which is a great addition in the middle of the park. But there potentially is an opening up top if, they're looking for extra striking depth. They also lost Golgol Mabratu as well. So there is a chance. I guess their striking depth at the moment for out-and-out number nines is quite it's not, stacked. They've got Alex Parsons, Lescano, Luke Ivanovic, who can play as that, but he can also sort of slot in as a 10 or a bit out wide, and Cyrus Demi as well, who's quite a young player. So there is, look, if they're looking for strikers and he performs tonight, there's no reason why not. He doesn't have to relocate, don't have to worry about COVID, just to move up the road. So it's almost like this is his trial. So I'm going to be really excited to see whether he puts himself up in the shop front. And I think as well, from looking at the squads, this could actually be, looking at Brisbane's team, a really good chance for a cup set because they don't have their full sort of complement of players. And a lot of A-League teams at this point, if you remember, historically in the FFA Cup, at this sort of stage, when they haven't got their squad entirely assembled, they can be quite vulnerable. You think back to Melbourne victory against Apia back in, 2018? They sort of fielded not a full-strength team before they brought in guys like Honda and all those guys, and they were beaten. There's every chance why Peninsula should give themselves a chance to come away with a win today. I'm excited for it because I love a cup set. I love the fact that we've got some football back, and Brisbane, on the other hand, they've got high ambitions this season. I think this is a tournament for Brisbane in itself. They should be looking to win it because, they finished fourth last season. They'd be looking to build on that. Probably a bit disappointing that they went out when they went out. Lost the home elimination final is never a nice way to go out. So, I think that this should be a priority of Warren Moon's to try at least get some silverware in the cabinet for Brisbane Roar, and this is a good chance to do it.
100%. And from a Peninsula Power perspective, I'm also excited to see their goalkeeper, Phil Zabax, in action. We spoke to him on Thursday. He has had quite a journey in football. He suffered a really serious brain injury earlier in his career. So he'll be sporting the kind of Petr Cech style headwear. He came back from that. He retired a few years ago and then came back out of retirement because Peninsula Power needed a sort of emergency goalkeeper, and now he's a steadfast part of the side at 38 years young. So he's a guy who will not take 1 second of this game for granted in terms of the occasion and what it means. It was a really great interview with him on Thursday when we were doing a show with George Danikian, so you can check that out on the podcast platforms if you're interested. But the other game in the FFA Cup this week is Edge Hill United versus Gold Coast Knights, which is a bit of a David versus Goliath encounter because Edge Hill United play in a regionalised competition that is outside of the NPL structure. This is local league stuff, but they are so dominant in that regional competition that, you could almost make a case for them only being a couple of divisions below. It's a very interesting question to see where they fit into the actual football pyramid. Gold Coast Knights, on the other hand, they've still got an ex-A-League star in their team in Mitch Nichols, who is kind of the metronome. He just has a really free playmaking role and pops up wherever he wants to. And they're a really ambitious club with, stacks full of talent at their disposal. So this is a really interesting game, especially for people who, have an interest in Queensland football. But I also think if this Edge Hill United side can pull off an upset, it will be one of the great, cup sets in the competition's history.
5th division, I'm reading. So fifth tier of Australian football.
They can't get promoted to the NPL. Yeah. So they're in the top of their regional competition.
Yeah.
So that's kind of an equivalency thing. It's actually hard to quite define where they are in the pyramid. They're refining it and actually putting all of the regional competitions in Queensland because it's so big. You don't actually have a chance to compete anymore if you're in Far North Queensland or wherever. So they're actually creating a sort of Champions League style format where the winners of each competition will play each other, but that doesn't kick in until next year.
Yeah. Well, this is a pretty good opportunity for some of these Edge Hill players. There might be some sort of unearthed gems for maybe NPL sides in Queensland, or maybe if they're sort of fit the mold of a younger sort of talent, maybe A-League teams be looking at it. This is, in itself, I knew nothing about Edge Hill heading into today. I saw him like, who are these guys? And I think this is it's just a great FFA Cup story. This is like your Marine United versus Tottenham Hotspur kind of
pretty
game
much
from last year. This is really cool. It's played at Barlow Park in Cairns as well, so hopefully a good turnout up there. Should be a nice night, hopefully, up in Cairns. So
nice balmy night at Cairns. Can they do it?
So I'm excited for it. I'm actually going to watch that. Really, just sort of have a bit of a curious eye on that, just to see how good these guys are. The rumbles are there, but are they as good as they maybe are? That's the exciting part.
Can I just shock you here, Nick, and say that one of their players already has giant killing experience in the FFA Cup? Was actually part of the Redlands side that beat Adelaide United a few years back, and probably what is the biggest state league versus A-League turn up still in the competition's short history. So, it's not going to be easy, I don't think, for Gold Coast Knights. I don't think it's going to be straightforward in those conditions against a team that is going to be super, super motivated and is better than their place in the kind of pyramid suggests. Nick, before we go, I did want to talk about the AFC Champions League. Obviously, no A-League teams involved due to COVID reasons. They have withdrawn this time around after the big hoo-ha that happened last year with the AFC basically making them go. So there's less Australian interest, but that doesn't mean there's no Australian interest. And these games actually are on 10 play. No guarantee of, proper commentary and definitely no studio coverage. But for years we were told this was just simply impossible. And even though Fox Sports held the rights, they were not going to just put every game up on Kayo. 10 players quickly put paid to that and said, no, we're going to show all of them. Even if you want to watch Istiklal versus Persepolis tomorrow morning at 1 a.m, You can do it. Godspeed to you.
Yeah. If you're one of the few fans of the Tajik League, I mean, there would be some in Australia.
It's going to be interesting. That's actually the big David versus Goliath battle in the Champions League.
I just had to search up where Istiklal was. I just had no idea that where I was like, where are these guys? Yeah, Tajik. So they're playing, obviously, Persepolis, but there is a lot of Australian flavour. You mentioned Adam Taggart playing for Cerezo. Asaka, I think you mentioned Alex Grant potentially playing as well.
Pohang Steelers. So there's potentially Alex Grant will be marking Adam Taggart. Very possibly.
So that's really honed in on the Australian sort of side of it. But there are some exciting games, Ulsan versus Kawasaki, Nagoya versus Daegu. As you mentioned, Cerezo versus Pahang Steelers, John Book as well in action, and Persepolis Nawada, and Al Nassr and Al Hilal, all the, big sort of Arabian teams as well. So there is enough to sort of, get excited about. It is a shame we don't have A-League teams, but I think in terms of logistics thing, I think it's a good thing that, we don't have them participating. I think it's a real shame for Melbourne City that their first actual chance to play in the Asian Champions League and, potentially do quite well with the squad that they've assembled is, it is quite disappointing they're not going to be there, sort of putting their best foot forward. And, but, if you're sort of a football aficionado, we're all in lockdown at the moment on the Eastern Seaboard. If you're a New South Welshman or, from Victoria or, even from Canberra as well, and you want some football to watch, you need something to kill time as well during the day. Whack some of these games on. There's a game actually starting in an hour between Nagoya and Daegu. So
with Mitch Langerak in goals. So
absolutely. Flick between. If you get a dual screen going on template, I don't know the logistics of it yet. If you can, I haven't trialed it that much. Go for your life. It's great.
It's great that we just have access to this, and especially it's going to get interesting come the later rounds of the competition. But Mitch Langerak has actually broken his own clean sheets record this season again. He said it last season. Now he's broken it in the J League. So he's in great nick, and Daegu played against Melbourne Victory not too long ago, so I think people will be familiar with that Korean outfit. They're pretty handy, and games being played in Japan, but the home leg in Daegu is always good to watch because they've got a fantastic little boutique stadium and a brilliant atmosphere, which is not always the case with K-League size. But Nick, I think we'll leave it there. A couple of predictions for the FFA Cup tonight. Will Peninsula do it?
Look, I think Brisbane will win this probably in a scrappy 2-1. I think it'll be a good game, though. I think Peninsula will push them, but I think Brisbane might just have a little bit too much quality when the whips start cracking, and maybe if it goes to extra time, a bit more run in the legs. But again, though, they're only in pre-season. Peninsula's been playing a full season, so that's the other little subplot to it. But I think Brisbane will probably just have a little bit too much.
I actually think Peninsula can take this to extra time. I'm really excited about this game because this is the perfect confluence of factors in terms of an informed top-of-the-table NPL side taking on an out-of-season A-League team that's rebuilding. I really think this is the sort of perfect setting for an upset. Whether it actually happens or not, I'm not sure, but I think Peninsula Power, I would love to see this go to penalties, and I would love to see Phil Zabax step up and be the hero. That'd be the dream, but we'll see.
It would be cool to see him win. Let's hope for a cup set. We love a cup set. So
and then Edge Hill United, Gold Coast Knights tomorrow night. To be honest, I think Gold Coast Knights probably have too much pedigree in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go Gold Coast. I don't know much about Edge Hill. We don't know what to expect.
No, I mean, look, we've never watched them. We only know them by reputation and what we've researched.
Yeah.
They're
the great unknown, and that's exciting. That's half the reason to tune in. Who are these guys? So that's
they score lots of goals in their local league, but it's a bit like me scoring lots of goals in the Churches League. Who really cares? It's like until you play someone decent.
Their own Wayne Shaw, someone like their own sort of cult figure. That's what I want to know. Do they have a cult figure like that?
I'm sure the perennial league champions in Cairns have a bit of fun off the pitch. So
hopefully there's doesn't get banned.
no pies involved.
Yeah.
All right, we better leave it there. Twilight Football. It's been great fun speaking to you, Nick, and I'm glad we recovered your internet in time for this final segment. If you want to catch our chat with Nick Stoll, that will be up shortly on the podcast platforms and the Champions League tomorrow morning on the stand. But we know the real fixture is actually happening on Thursday morning. I really can't wait. Liverpool AC Milan is going to be so good. Maybe we'll try and organise a watch along for that.
I don't think I'll be watching along because I'll just be too nervous. I don't know if
I want to see your live reactions to, Mo Salah running through 1v1 against Mike Mannion.
Me and Nick Hughes in that might turn into a fight, a virtual fight. I don't think
Actually,
that's a
you'd
good
probably
idea.
be too nervous to speak. Actually, it might be boring. Well, certainly,
Yeah.
we'll be seeing the banter fly in the group chat in the lead up to that one. Cannot wait. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time here on FNR.